You're in Malaysia, so we have to ask, is it true that Singaporeans have no sense of humour?
No, it's not true. Singaporeans are beginning to have a sense of humour because I think everybody wants to laugh now with all the sadness that's going around us. So they are beginning to they're getting a bit more sophisticated with all the social media and all that. So I think they're having a sense of humour.
That's going to disappoint some people.
I know. I know.
Yeah. And
sorry.
stand-up is said to be one of the scariest things for comedians to do. You've been doing it for years and years. How do you try out your material and test drive it?
For me, I've come to a level where I know what works and what doesn't work. So usually I'll try out with a live audience first, and if I don't get a response, then it's either my delivery was wrong or they didn't get it. So then you have to work around it again and try it out in another way. And but sometimes it just goes, so you just chuck it lah.
Is it a long process to get to the point where you say something and people laugh?
Not really, because maybe if it's a newcomer, you might have problem. But for a person who's been doing this for quite some time, it's quite easy to understand what makes people laugh.
And I understand that at one point in time you've had to perform your entire routine in front of police officers before taking it public.
Yes,
what was that like?
Oh, that was horrible because there were about 8 to 10 of them, and you have to tell each joke, and they're not supposed to laugh.
So did they just sit there,
and
just
listen
staring
to you?
at you?
Yeah, so it's really, really horrible feeling.
Did you get a smile at least?
When one of the police laughed, the rest of them then looked at him like, "You are not supposed to laugh."
You're wrong now.
Yeah.
That's such a pity. What was the best gig you performed? I'm going to assume that was the worst. Was that the worst? Or
that's not a gig. That's just to get the license.
Thing, yeah.
It's just you have to get the license, so you have to do it. You just do it. Mostly every time I'm on stage, it's always a wonderful feeling for me because I think it's the only time where I feel very much at ease, very much myself. The most happiest time of my day is when I'm on stage.
So they're all good?
They're all good.
And how much have you had to keep your transgender identity in check, especially since we're talking about, Singapore and a government that's fairly, sort of homophobic?
Because I think the transgender is it's just a facade that I'm using to I used to dress up quietly in my mother's room, so it just a hobby became a career, and but as long as it's done within a bar, I can't go public. You can't go public because you have to apply special license for that. Because for what I do, I talk a lot about politics. I talk a lot about current affairs, rules, whatever the thing that's happening now. So I can't really go public with that yet. But if it's closed doors, the government do not disturb you at all.
So what kind of licenses, we were talking earlier about the whole police officer thing,
Yeah.
What license was that for really? I mean, what different
It was because I was performing in a club, and it was the first time ever we were setting up a cabaret club. So the police didn't understand. To them, a cabaret club is Chinese nightclub. But so they didn't understand what a cabaret means. What's a drag? Why is it stand up? And then that's cabaret. They don't have any book to follow. Everything is a book.
It's a tough definition to make anyway. Yeah.
So they just wanted to know what was this all about. So initially they didn't allow me to wear a dress, but eventually they just closed the eye because nobody was complaining. Singapore is like that. As long as the public don't complain, and you do not go public, because we still have our different races to worry about, and we have our religions and all that. So as long as you don't go public and do this, you are fine.
Right. And Ricky Gervais, who's of course offended, I guess, millions around the world, he once said that offense is never given, it's taken, and that the role of the comedian is as much to make people think as it is to laugh. Do you agree with that?
Yes. I really think even for people can't put you down unless you allow them to do so. It's the same thing, So I think a stand-up comedian at the end, there has to be a message about people, because it's not just about ha frivolous. It's they have to walk out thinking something. That's what I always like to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, race is a big thing in Singapore as much as it is in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel, how do you feel your role is in terms of continuing discourse about race? And, your jokes tend to be quite racial in nature.
It is because I think it is part and parcel of living in Asia, that we have so many different kind of cultures. And it's interesting to talk about different culture because we have our own funny idiosyncrasies among our own race, which we don't realize that it's funny. It doesn't make sense. But yet we still just do it, because people just do it because my mom says do it. So we just do it. My dad says just do it. But it's funny because why am I doing this for, you know? So, and within the Chinese, Malay, Indians, and we have the Eurasians, and we have so many different races now. It is everybody have they got their own funny trick, funny state, funny actions, funny movements, funny moments, which I like to talk about it all the time because it's always happening. Somebody put up in Facebook and say something stupid, and even in Facebook, I don't even know who they're talking to. Sometimes I just woke up, like, yeah. Thanks.
Who was wondering about that update? You
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And then people put so much of their problems on Facebook. Like, I'm depressed today. I had a very bad day. I mean, don't face your problem. Don't Facebook your problem. Right?
And can your humor, which is quite local in nature, travel and go international? You know, can you take it over to, I don't know, Australia, for
I
example?
have done a lot of other countries. I've done Germany. I've done London. I've done... you see, because it is... When I go to another country, I've done India a lot. I just cut all the localized, like, all the Singlish and all the ho, he, le, all that. Cut and then just go straight into jokes. You're fine.
Yeah? Does it translate very well?
It translates well, but it for different country, it like you have to do more sex jokes, and you know, for some countries you do a bit more thinking jokes. You know, London a bit more sophisticated. But generally, when I go and perform, that's all Asians coming to watch. The Singaporeans have migrated there, or the Malaysians, or Hongkies, or whoever. Men and women are so different now. I mean, I think then as well, but now it's just even when guys and girls go to the clubs, girls and girls will dance, but guys and guys won't dance. A girl will compliment her friend saying how beautiful she looks today, but a guy will never compliment another guy to say how your shirt brought out your eye in you or something like that, or bro. And girl will go toilet together, and guy won't go toilet together. You know? Right?
Yes, it's true.
This is all just behavior, but it's funny. And all drinks are made for men, gays and women. That's why they call cocktails, you know? Because they're like screaming orgasm, slippery nipple.
Sex on the beach.
Sex on the beach. They're all... What do straight men order?